Do you feel trapped in the cycle of emotional eating? And do you feel like no matter how hard you try, you can't break free? I know how frustrating this can be. I struggled with this too, but it's been 7 years of freedom, and I'm so excited to share with you 3 proven strategies in this video that are going to support you to break free of emotionally eating for good. Just like my beautiful client Onami, who shares before meeting Giulia, I honestly thought I would never be able to overcome the struggles with my body and food. Now I'm the most confident I've ever been in my body image and in my life. My days of calorie counting, dieting, and self-sabotaging behaviors like emotionally eating are finally over. This is absolutely possible for you too. So if you are driven to see results like this and you want to make this happen in your life, there's a link below to have a personalized conversation to really uncover exactly where you're getting stuck and how to make these results a reality. Now let's get into the video. First, I want to talk about the number 1 mistake that you're making when it comes to emotional eating. You think that this is about willpower or determination, and that's the strategy that you're using to heal this. This is nothing to do with willpower. This has nothing to do with determination. It has everything to do with safety, and I'm going to tell you what that actually means. Your body is emotionally eating because internally your nervous system does not feel safe. As a result of that state of a lack of safety, our body then reaches outside of ourselves for tools like food to support it to feel safe. The problem is that when we then start using food to feel safe, we get that instant feeling in the moment of an increased sense of safety, like, oh, this tastes really good. I'm starting to feel more calm. I'm starting to feel more comfort. You get those signals of safety, but within 3 to 5 seconds later, you start feeling shame, blame, and you get stuck in that spiral once again. The reason why willpower and determination doesn't work to overcome this is because you're using the conscious mind alone. And overcoming emotional eating, we have to use the subconscious, and we actually have to work directly with our nervous system to break free. This is why so many people fail to actually break free of emotionally eating, because they're using the wrong strategy. They're relying on willpower and determination alone. And I'm really excited to share these exact strategies that are going to help you to break free. Number 1, we've got to support the root cause of your emotional eating, which in simplicity comes down to having a dysregulated nervous system. When our nervous system is stuck in a stress state, whether it is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system or the freeze response of the nervous system, our body is not regulated inside. Our nervous system is not feeling safe. And in those states, we are going to reach outside of ourselves for food as a tool to feel safe. Why? Because this is something that we learned long ago. Most of the time people can trace back to when they were a child or when they were an adolescent or some specific point in their lives where they actually can consciously remember, yeah, my parents may have been going through a divorce at that time and I started using food as a way to soothe and cope with those difficult feelings. So that becomes a learned practice behavior over time that your nervous system kind of gets hardwired to link with. So anytime the body starts feeling unsafe or difficult emotions start coming up, it's this switch that goes off that tells the nervous system, you're feeling unsafe. Use this strategy of food to feel better. So when it comes time to supporting and healing the root cause of this, we have to actually focus on working with the nervous system. If you can get your nervous system into a more regulated state where it's not getting stuck in this stress response, and you can teach your nervous system really important tools that will help it to feel safe and build capacity and safety, you're going to notice that has a direct correlation on reducing the intensity of these emotional eating episodes, the frequency of these emotional eating episodes, the length of them, etc. You get it. So here are some exercises that you can use to support your nervous system to feel more safe so that it actually understands we're safe and okay. We don't have to use food to cope with these uncomfortable feelings in our body. We have better strategies and tools that actually feel much better. So one of the tools that I love the most that is so simple is called havening. This is where you take your hands, you cross them at your shoulders, and you bring them down to your elbows. You lift back up and you repeat. I can't even get through 2 seconds and I'm already feeling super calm just by doing this for 2 seconds. So havening, I would encourage you to do for 1 to 5 minutes. This is going to have an amazing impact on your nervous system. And most people make the mistake again of thinking, okay, I've got this urge to emotionally eat. Now I'm gonna set a timer and try to will myself out of it, it just doesn't work. But if you can use this tool that I'm teaching you right here, even in the morning when you wake up, when you don't have an urge to binge, you're going to build safety and capacity within your nervous system. And that's going to mean that later the chances that you're going to get really stressed and start using food to cope are going to be minimized. So that's havening. Another really powerful quick tool that you can do is something called ear stretching. So you're going to hold the 3 different positions on your ears. You're going to stretch your earlobes down like this for 10 seconds. You're going to do the same in the middle of the ear. Excuse me. And then you're going to stretch your ears to the top and do the same for 10 seconds. And that's going to help you to feel oh so safe and regulated. The last tool that I'm going to give you, because I don't want to overwhelm you in this one video, and the thing that really transformed my relationship to emotional eating as well as all my clients, is using EFT, known as tapping emotional freedom techniques. This is amazing because it works directly with our limbic system, the amygdala, the whole structure of our brain that really gets turned on and starts using food to cope. So tap on these points with me, just mirror me, like do what I do. Simon Says. And even if you use this tool just like this, tapping on these same points, it doesn't matter if you tap on the right side or the left side, you get to choose. You're sending signals to your brain that I'm safe, excuse me, I'm okay, all is well. Turns off the alarm bells. These are the points, so we do them in sequence, and I would encourage you to tap continuously through the points like this for 5 minutes at a minimum daily to start seeing those results. So that's one round. You would just keep tapping for 5 continuous minutes, okay? So I just gave you 3 tools: havening, ear pulling / stretching, and EFT tapping. You're already very well equipped. Now let's get on to tip number 2. Tip number 2, you are going to support yourself to actually identify what's really going on, what's actually making you feel so stressed. So you're going to identify the emotional triggers. How are you going to do this? I'm going to invite you to become a little detective and get a specialized notebook, a journal if you will, to actually write every single day at the end of your day about how your day went. What felt good? What felt really stressful? Because you're going to start to be able to track the patterns. I had no conscious awareness when I was really struggling with emotionally eating, what I was even upset about, what I was even stressed about. It kind of felt like I just blacked out every single time, and then I just moved on, and same thing repeated itself day in and day out. So once I actually started tracking this regularly, and I did it for a month straight, I was able to see week over week, what are these things that are actually keeping me up at night? What is stressing me out? What are these emotional triggers that are driving me into emotionally eating? Because with that specific knowledge, we can actually overcome and develop resilience against those triggers. We can heal what is causing you to be so upset. But without awareness, we don't have any information that we can actually use to really overcome this. So grab yourself a dedicated journal notebook. You're going to write at the end of the day, every single day, what went well, what was really stressful for you, what were you upset about, and you're going to track and notice this week over week. What are the patterns and what can you see is really upsetting you in your life? For a lot of people, it might be your work. For others, it might be your relationship or lack thereof. For me at the time, I was very lonely. I was not in a relationship. I felt very unworthy consistently about my body image. And then I was able to actually focus on healing that area of my life, which had a direct impact in overcoming emotionally eating. Number 3, compassion and forgiveness. So the cycle goes stress, which triggers us to emotionally eat. And then after we emotionally eat, we inevitably get stuck with the shame, guilt, blame spiral. And that shame, blame energy is a very stressful, dysregulating emotion for the nervous system, which then, guess what? Reboots us in the emotional eating spiral. So the biggest thing that's going to cancel out this cycle for you and break the cycle is you having more compassion for yourself and forgiveness, because that energy is on the top half of the vibrational scale, as noted over here, and is an emotion that's going to support your nervous system to become regulated, i.e., less stress, more calm, more safe, which if we think back to the very first tip I taught you, regulating our nervous system is one of the key things we need in order to stop emotionally eating. So you learning how to have compassion and forgiveness for yourself is one of the key things that is going to stop this cycle. How do I do that when I'm really mad at myself after I emotionally eat? I get it. I know how frustrating it is. So what you're going to do is, if you have an emotional eating episode, you're going to use one of the other tools I just taught you, tapping. You're going to tap through the points like this, and you're just going to repeat to yourself, even though I had an emotional eating episode, I'm learning how to love and forgive myself. I'm willing to forgive myself. That's it. So let's say that again. Even though I had an emotional eating episode again, and I'm really frustrated, I'm learning how to love and forgive myself. And those words are really important. I'm learning how to love and forgive myself. I'm learning how to forgive myself. I'm learning how to have compassion for myself. That is going to cancel out this very stressful blame, shame energy that is going to drive you into the binge. I can't stress this enough. Learning how to have forgiveness for myself. This is going to honestly be, I think, the biggest game changer for you. And finally, as a little bonus tip, because my goodness, we love a bonus tip, I'm going to encourage you to drop the rules and regulation around food. You think they're really supporting you by having these very strict rules around food. Don't eat this at this time. Stay away from this food. The more labels and forbidden things we have with food, you're activating that stress response within your nervous system, which is directly leading you to emotionally eat. I know it's scary, but if you enter into a relationship with food where you're starting to practice letting yourself eat, not having rules, not having all these regulations, you turn off this alarm system in your body and in your brain, and you start having a peaceful relationship with food where nothing is activating that response in the brain that says you must eat this because it's off limits. It just becomes neutral, is what I'm trying to say. So for me, the minute I dropped all these rules and regulations around food, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat past this time, all of that stress just melted away, and it had such a huge contribution in me having peace with food and really stopping emotional eating cycle. So I'd love to hear which tip for you is the most helpful, 1 through bonus 4. What are you taking away from this? Please share this in the comments. And remember that you can absolutely get through this. I was just like you, where for the first 30 years of my life, I was chained by this. I was so frustrated by this. I was such a determined individual, but I could not break free of this despite therapy, despite counseling, coaching, you name it, energy healing. I tried it all, literally. And when I finally learned these strategies and I developed a proven method, I actually broke free, and it's been over 7 years since I've ever had an emotional eating episode, and that ran my life forever. So I hope that's some inspiration for you. Remember, there's a link below to connect and have a personalized call to understand exactly where you're getting stuck and have a plan to move forward, and you can schedule that directly through the link below. Sending you so much love, and thanks for being here. You're gonna get through this.